Oh, you know what I just realized? I have been, and to my own detriment as well, right? Like I got into the same mentality. I got into the same. It's like I'm to blame here as well. I'm not looking to blame. It's like what is it? It's like I have found the quickest. I have found that the quickest way to connection is finding that common ground, and I find that the common ground with a lot of people is bitching and complaining. Right? It's like being on the same team, right? The quickest way to connect is to be on the same team. So this is the idea of trauma bonding, right? Of being on the same team of the bitching and complaining, right? The thing that you're bitching and complaining about. That is not a good way to be for obvious reasons. Yet, think about that, right? Like you're doing that all day, every day. That idea, that's a dramatic word for what is happening on a softer scale, but intensified, it's essentially trauma bonding, right? So if everybody's bitching about the bad weather, if that's the common theme of the day, you want to bond with others the same way. So you see somebody, you're like, oh yeah, man, can you believe this weather? Or we tend to want to find a common ground, and I don't think everybody does it the way I'm suggesting. It's a way that I've noticed I've done because it's something I have picked up in my environment. I have picked that pattern, and I've noticed it, but I wasn't conscious of my picking up. I wasn't consciously aware that, I picked up that pattern and have started to implement that pattern. And what is a beautiful break and realization and a way for me to recognize my own pattern is relationships, right? Any form of relationships. And so I'm in a new environment, and this has been, it's like I have wanted to be in places and spaces where people are more positive, they're more uplifting, they're happier, they're more forward focused, they're more able to see the silver lining. And again, not in a fluffy woo-woo, but like truth and clarity. And like, okay, well, there's something we can do about this, but there is something we can do about this. So let's focus on what we can do, and let's focus on the good of it, you know? And so I feel like I have landed there, but it's like I wanted it for so long and was so used to the other that I began to accept the other and almost doubt that what I wanted existed. And so that's the idea of you get what you ask for, and then you push it away, or you don't even see it or recognize it because you've lost your alignment. You've lost your focus. And so, again, I felt like I was the annoying one who was always seeing the silver lining, focused forward, had the solutions, like in this good, positive way for so long that it did feel like I was starting to become like annoying, or the like mother, or the like just annoying, you know? And then it's also draining when you feel like you're trying to uplift others, and it's just not how that always works anyway. And so what I'm trying to spit out that it's like I was going in the right direction, and then it like took a toll on me. And so nonetheless, I land where I've landed, and it's like have been up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's like trying to get back into my alignment, but have seen that it's been a slow ride, right? Like it's, and so good days and bad days. And I have a neighbor who is positive, and yes, bad things happen. And yet he doesn't focus on the bad of it. He focuses on the reality and truth of it, and what he can do, and forward focus, positive outlook, truth and clarity, staying in his alignment, these kind of things. He's a very grounded gentleman. So it's good for me to be around that, right? Like around people who are grounded and positive and forward focused, you know? And so I have noticed I'm using him in particular because I have talked with him more, but I have noticed it in all of my interactions here that it's like that quick, easy, automatic. So I've noticed that pattern where the more I'll be chatting with somebody, because I've mentioned it and I haven't necessarily realized what I was doing before. I've mentioned how I've gone into autopilot, even though I was staying present. So I'm like, what's happening? And I think I finally figured that out. I think that is what happens is I'm new, I'm trying to connect, I'm trying to stay present, and yet I lived in environments where the common denominator, the comfort zone, the ease and flow was the connection of bitching and complaining. And so I noticed, like, no matter who I would talk with, wherever, even if it's just the slightest little conversation, that it's almost here for the negative. And instead of fighting the negative like I was doing and wasn't getting anywhere, it was like going against a brick wall when I would hear the negative and give them the flip side of that and give them the positive to grasp onto. And then I felt like I was becoming annoying, and people didn't like it or didn't want to hear it. And they really wanted to hang on to their limitations like a dog with a bone. And that's what they preferred, and that's what they were comfortable with. And that's where there wasn't the agitation between me and them. As long as I allowed them to keep their bone and encourage their bone, then we got along fine. So it got to the place where it was like, okay, I'm not looking to have negative interactions or fight people out of their limitations. I'm not looking to fight them to be happy. So go ahead and keep your misery. But I want to be happy. And so it's like, and I want us to get along. And so this is the idea of I would align outside myself. I would please them. I would pull my own self out of my own alignment down to where they were, just to feel like I belonged or had connection with them. That's no way to be. It hurts and it's painful. And so, and yet it's also was more comfortable for me because that's what I was used to. And so when I arrived here, I have found that it's like, instead of bucking that current, because that's what I felt like I was always doing, bucking the current, and it's like, this is exhausting, that I found when I would hear the negative, I would do the opposite of what I had trained myself into doing. I had trained myself into flipping it for them. So now I would hear the negative and be like, oh yeah, can you believe that? Right? I would go right into aligning with that negative. And so, again, in a way to bond, in a way to have connection, in a way to have familiarity, right? And so if you can see yourself doing that anywhere, like, that is so detrimental. And so what has been really helpful is my positive neighbor who won't be dragged into that, right? So even if he says the negative, and it's not even saying the negative, it's just saying, like, he would say like a negative experience. And I'd be like, oh man, can you believe that? And he'd be like, well, it happens, right? So he wasn't getting dragged out of his alignment. He's able to stay grounded and aligned and speak that truth and stay there, and then do the positive and the forward focused. And so in him doing that, in him being able to hold that line, hold that truth, hold his forward focus and his control of what he can control, and not dropping from it and engaging in the rhetoric or the negative or looking at it in a way that is hurtful or painful, it had allowed me to see what I was doing, right? That I had slipped, and that I was starting to pull myself down and pull him down in a sense. Does that make sense? Can you hear that? I hope so, because it's really good. Because I think we're all doing it in these very, 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 very subtle ways where, again, it's not ill intent. Like, my intent is to make friends and have connection and feel good. Yet it doesn't feel good for me to bitch and complain. It doesn't feel good for me to bond that way, right? And yet it's what I had found was the easiest and quickest way to have connection with those outside of me. Because when I stood in my alignment, when I stood in my truth, when I would flip it positive for them and try to bring them up to my alignment, people would run screaming, or they would buck that current and they would just get angry. And so it was like, oh, it's me. I'm awful. I shouldn't do that. We should be negative. Then you'll be my friend. Then we'll be friends. I just need to align with your crap, and then we'll be friends. And it's like, stop trying to be friends with people that doesn't feel good for you to be down there. And this has been a real challenge and problem. So finally I land in a place where they don't do that. And I find now I'm the one doing that. Can you hear? I hope you can hear this. I really hope I'm verbalizing this clear enough. Because it's such a refreshing breakthrough for me to realize and now work on and practice and recognize. So now that I can see it, now that I can see this pattern, now that I can see what I've reverted back to and how it is not serving me and it's hurtful and painful. And now it doesn't have to be hurtful and painful either way. I can still be me. I can still stay in my alignment. I can still be positive. I can still forward focus. I can still be real. I can still be truthful. I don't have to be woo-woo. And these people in this environment are capable of doing that too. Look at that, right? So it's like you don't have to conform. You don't have to pretzel. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be you. You just have to be you. Just stand in your truth, which should always be the case. But sometimes some of us will have a hard time. We'll have a hard time keeping our, We'll have a hard time keeping our alignment when we don't have those needs being met, that need of love and connection from outside ourselves. Sorry, something got caught in my throat. And so, because I haven't cultivated those relationships, those healthy dynamics, when you don't do that, when you're in deprivation, you will slip back into the easy get, right? The easy, automatic, familiar way that you used to do it when you discovered or determined whatever which way. Even though it wasn't serving you, even though you decided that wasn't for you anymore, if you are not meeting your needs in healthy ways and you get deprived, the more dominant pattern will show up. And so that can also be a good thing, a benefit to show you, here, they're tossing up another pattern that doesn't serve you, that's an old automatic, which means it's still dominant, right? And so the sooner you can see that dominant pattern and be truthful and clear with yourself, then the sooner you can rewire it, you can change it so that you can make something else more dominant, right? And okay, I hope you heard that one. Maybe it just feels like a good one because it was a good one for me to see where I was falling short big time and hurting myself. And I wanted you to see because it can be so subtle. It really can be so subtle. It's like you have good intentions, like you want to love, you want to whatever, but that's not how that works. You want to connect, but you have to be connected to you in order to authentically connect with others, right? It's like when I'm looking outside of me to find a way, right? That is the opposite of what we want to be doing. And that's why it doesn't feel good. That's why it feels challenging. That's why it feels painful. That's why it feels, because it's not natural. It's not easy. It feels like effort. It feels like force because it's not true. It's not you, right? Naturally, we're love. We're easy. It's flow. It's light. And so it's just also the cue of like, where are you deprived? Where are you not meeting your needs? Where are you not allowing the love in? Where are you holding yourself at bay? And that's the spot that we need to, at the moment, work on, right? Like that's where you need to love yourself more there. Tell yourself the right stuff there. Be kinder and gentler with yourself there so that you can ease naturally and start to repair and rebuild in those spots, Okay.
Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.